and welcome to the Living Room on 938 Live with me, Stanley Leong. It's excellent that you can catch this conversation that's just about to unfold because our chats will certainly appeal to your very senses in more ways than one. Well, this hour we want to talk about the customer experience when shopping. It's more than just the shop front or what's in the window of a store that catches your eye and beckons you to come in, have a look and perhaps make a purchase. More than just the eye, retailers are increasingly appealing to passerbys through other senses other than visual. So the next time you smell something in the air that's pleasantly sweet, warm and inviting, don't be surprised if you're led to turn the corner, walk into a shop and buy something where you initially had no intention to. That very shop that's infusing the air with a custom-made fragrance. Well, over and above sense of sight and smell, some retailers also know that the auditory can also be a very powerful sensory function that can convert someone who's merely browsing into a customer. Yes, taking out that wallet, taking out that purse. Truly, it's marketing in a way that could cater to your senses that gives a whole new meaning to the customer experience today. Well, we talk about turning on the potential customer through these fascinatingly subtle ways with my guest this hour, Simon Faure-Field. Simon's CEO of visionary customer experience consultancy called Equal Strategy. He knows the business inside out of customer-centric marketing better than anyone else because his company specializes in compiling special music playlists for stores, music tailor-made to suit their products and clientele, in addition to supplying customized fragrances that are connected to air conditioning systems. He's been consultant to the likes of MNCs and internationally renowned brands, including Courts, Microsoft, Mercedes-Benz, OCBC, and even Changi Airport. We bring on the sight, smells, and turn up the music of the Living Room now on 938 Live. Simon, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's going to be an exciting discussion. I already sense and smell it because it's just amazing how, you can actually reach out and grab the attention of that particular customer who doesn't even know, that he or she is being drawn into a store, and of course, making of course that giving in rather to the whole nature of wanting to spend and to splurge on things which they didn't initially have intentions to. So very interesting there, music and also the power of sense here. Let's find out more about how you got started and got interested in this particular area of marketing.
Well, basically, back in 1998, we realised there was an opportunity in the marketplace where businesses tend to be neglecting the way they presented themselves through the telephone. They're spending a substantial amount of money on marketing and advertising campaigns in TV, in magazines, TV, all to generate phone calls and make customers contact them. And we found that when you actually picked up the telephone and you called these companies, what you experienced when you were put on hold or if you had to listen to any automated prompts or greetings, it tended not to reflect the company's brand and its positioning in the marketplace. So we felt there's an opportunity here, there's a need for us to provide a service that helps companies to professionalise and get that touch point more brand-centric. And we developed a way to look at using music and interlacing that with messages with voiceovers as a way to inform and educate and engage customers when they're waiting on hold. So this actually helps to reduce abandoned calls. But if we take a brand-centric approach to the music and the voice so it reflects the company in the right way, it creates a more consistent experience for that customer. Then it was about 5 years ago we were invited to become a member of the On-Hold Messaging Association in the States. Excuse me.
All right.
And while I was in America, I was introduced to a company who had developed a technology for music and retail. And they had quite a large music library, and when I came back to Singapore, as soon as I got off the plane, walking through Changi Airport, I could hear music. And I was thinking, well, this music, does it really reflect Changi Airport's brand and positioning? Does it create the right sort of mood within the environment? And from there, I then went around the shopping centres to the hotels, and it sort of really dawned upon me that people were just looking at music just to have music without really looking at the mood it created in that environment. So again, we saw there was a similarity with how we were treating music and messaging on the phone systems, and we thought, great, there's a need again for us to fill this area and help companies create an environment that's conducive for their customers, to help them really create an environment that customers like to go to, right? Because if you like to go to a particular shop because it feels good to you, you'll have that natural preference to go there. And if you're relaxed within that environment, you'll actually spend more time there. And when you spend more time in a store, it's been scientifically proven, you will spend more money. So, you know, and that was just looking at using music. And then 4 years ago, I met a super branding guru, a gentleman by the name of Martin Lindstrom, and he's written a book called Brand Sense. And this was talking about multi-sensory branding, and I met him at an event, and how he was talking about music and sound and how that has to fit within a branding context, which confirmed my beliefs all along. And then he was talking about fragrance and the sense of smell, and how the sense of smell is the most powerful sense that we have.
It's really the most powerful?
Yep. And you can't ignore it. I mean, if you were to walk into a restaurant and it didn't smell nice, no matter how nice it looks, no matter how beautifully the restaurant was arranged, you wouldn't want to stay there.
When you're talking about a restaurant smelling nice, are we talking about a restaurant smelling like the great fruit, the food that it produces from the kitchen, or we're talking about really artificial fragrances just to make it pleasant?
I'm just talking about smell in general, okay? This would apply to a retail outlet. If you went to a retail outlet and if it didn't smell nice, you wouldn't want to stay there. It's human nature, and the nose was actually developed to warn us of danger. So what we can actually do now is we can turn that around the other way, and if you can make an environment smell more appealing, it will be more attractive. And that's to your consciousness and also to your subconsciousness. So where we're coming along and how we're helping companies is to use fragrancing to help fit within the brand, but also to make their properties more attractive, more appealing. I mean, there's a new hotel that's going to be opening behind the Raffles Hotel. If you go along CS Street, you find there's a lot of construction. And in a couple of months, there'll be a hotel opening called the Nomi. And we're actually going to be providing the music in the lobby, and also by the swimming pool on the roof, but also fragrancing in the lobby as a way that when customers are within that environment, it's going to sound good, it's going to look beautiful, but it's also going to smell beautiful as well. So we're going to have a sort of a multi-sensory appeal with the customers there. And I can't go into too much detail about the type of fragrance we're going to use or the music, because we're developing that and that's all PNC at the moment. But objectively, what this hotel wants to do, it wants to create a very unique experience. It's going to be Singapore's first luxury boutique hotel. So they want something that guests will go there, it will sound right, it will look good, it will smell good. And with the sense of smell being directly connected to the brain centers for your emotions and memory, it's something that has a very memorable effect on people.
You feel good.
You feel good. And if you feel good, you like to be there. So it's not always about price being the drawing factor, which there's, retail has a very price-centric approach in Singapore. But you find at the top tier of the market, price tends to become irrelevant. It's about how the customer feels with the product, and what we're trying to do is help the customer feel more comfortable and relaxed within the last mile of purchasing that product or looking at the product.
Simon, you must have been asked before that, whether or not such marketing techniques are actually deemed manipulative, because, customers aren't really, or browsers, they could be browsers right at the start. They never had intentions to want to buy anything, least bit walking into a store, but suddenly they are attracted to it subtly, unconsciously or subconsciously. So would this be ethical in a sense?
Well, isn't making a shop look beautiful or stylish the same? It's about making it attractive, making it appeal to a customer. And visual, with stores being fitted out and storekeepers spending a lot of money, they spend a lot of money on the visual sense, right? And what we're finding now is that visually we're overwhelmed. If you look back in time, in the 1960s, which is before my time, people had about 30% on television the previous day. Today, could you name 5 TV commercials that you saw yesterday?
Oh, no.
Could you recall 3 advertisements you read in the newspaper yesterday?
Yes. Potential clients.
But what we're actually looking at here is the ability to recall what we've seen. And this is where they're looking at the effectiveness. And there's been such a heavy focus on visual marketing.
They were just bombarded.
We're bombarded, we're overwhelmed, and we can only remember and recall so much. So by storekeepers making their stores look attractive, they're trying to engage the customers in an area that's already overwhelmed. So where we're coming in, we're helping with the music and with the fragrancing to make that more attractive, more appealing.
Overall experience.
Overall. And ultimately, we actually buy with our emotions, but we will justify with logic